Bienvenue à tous, merci d'être là. Ça me fait un immense plaisir de vous voir tous ici dans ce lieu prestigieux. Bon, la réunion va se tenir en anglais, mais il ne faut surtout pas que si par hasard vous avez des questions à poser en français, vous vous sentiez bridé, vous la posez en français et on se débrouillera pour traduire. Donc à partir de maintenant, je vais parler en anglais. So thank you all for coming. It's a real pleasure to see you all here. And I think you have already, most of you, appreciated this setting. So I will first say a few words about this Fondation Singer-Polignac. It was created in 1928 by Raymond Poincaré, who at that time was a prime minister, and he was also the first president of this foundation. And the mission of the foundation was to promote scientific, artistic, and philanthropic enterprises from France. Actually, it was possible by the generosity of a lady called Winaretta Singer, Singer en français. And for the oldest of you, the young have no idea what a sewing machine is, une machine à coudre. But the sewing machine, Singer, or les machines à coudre Singer, were very well known. And so she got her money from the sewing machine. And Winaretta Singer was an artist herself. She was a painter, a writer, a music lover. And she had many friends among the artists in France. So imagine that in this building, there were people like Proust, the famous writer, like many musicians, like Fauré, Ravel, Stravinsky, Dindy, and many others. And there were many concerts given here, and actually many of their works were created here. And sometimes asked by the Princess Winaretta Singer, who married Prince Polignac, so she became Princess Singer-Polignac, Singer-Polignac. So we are here thanks to her. But we are also here thanks to the present president, whom you will see today, Professor Pouliquin. He's a very famous ophthalmologist, French ophthalmologist, but he's also a famous writer. He's a member of the Académie Française, and he's a painter. So he's really an artist, just like Winaretta was. And he's so fond of music that he has really developed a foundation towards young musicians. And here in this building, there are 6 rehearsal rooms where young musicians can come and practice. And at the moment, there are something like 500, I think, young musicians who are here in residency at the foundation. Donc 500 musiciens qui sont en résidence à la fondation. It's open every day, the whole year. So really it's a huge effort towards young musicians. And this is how you will hear tonight some of these young musicians who will play for us. So I really want to thank Professor Pouliquin for hosting us here. Now I will turn to Cadazil, and I thought that for the young people in the room, I would say a little bit about what I have to call the prehistory of Cadazil. And the prehistory of Cadazil, 20 years later, what next? Well, as you all know, it was exactly 20 years ago that on the basis of the study of one family, Elizabeth was able to locate the gene on chromosome 19, and we thought a lot about acronyms. There was no computer program at that time to give you the acronyms, so we thought a lot and we suggested the acronym Cadazil. But the prehistory of Cadazil, for me at least, started long before. In 1976, I met the first member of that family. He was a man in his 50s, and he had, as you can see on the CT scan above, he had a history of small subcortical infarcts and white matter disorder. The prevailing idea at that time was that he might have been Singer disease, but he had no hypertension. And at that time also, I was just starting the French aspirin secondary prevention trial. So I offered this patient to enter our trial, which he did. So I followed him very regularly. Of course, I asked about family history. There was nothing special. And in fact, it's only 10 years later that his 2 children, daughter and son, Monsieur Herriot, avancez, Monsieur Herriot, avancez. And came to see me, and they already had some very subtle subcortical ischemic events, and they had the MRI that you can see. So it was now quite clear that this was a familial disorder. And then I had a very great luck, because I'm a clinician, and I was asking my residents what's going on in this family, and so on and so on. And in Salpêtrière, in the corridor, I met Elisabeth. And this was a great luck, Elisabeth Tournier-Lasserre. She was at that time a neuroimmunogeneticist, if I remember right. She looked at the MRI, and she said, "Is someone working with you on that?" And I said, "No. Would you like?" And she offered me to work with me. And what fantastic collaboration we had and we still have. So we embarked on the study of this family, and this was made possible, because of thanks to many people. I cannot quote them all, but I would like to emphasize Professor Cabanis. He was the head of neuroradiology department in Quinzin Hospital, and he heard about the story of this family, and he said, "Okay, no problem, I will open my MRI on Saturdays for you, for research." And so this was made possible because of Emmanuel Cabanis and his team. And also because of many young residents that we had at that time, and many of them are here today, who came also on Saturdays to examine the family. And of course, it was made possible because of the fantastic collaboration of that family, who was originating from the west of France, but they managed to gather and to organize trips on Saturdays to Paris to have a full examination. And we reported the finding of that family because, in fact, we discovered that 19 of them had either very subtle ischemic events or MRI abnormalities. And we reported that in 91. In the meantime, one of this family member, a lady, the cousin of my first patient, died, and we were able to confirm pathologically that this was indeed a small artery disease of the brain. And again, it's on the basis of the study of the 56th adult member of this family that Elisabeth located the gene on chromosome 19. Chromosome 19. Then things really exploded, and thanks to many neurologists all around France, in 3 years we gathered 33 French families. Many of them were called familial multiple sclerosis. And it is on the basis of these 33 families that Anne Joutel, in Elisabeth's team, found a gene, Notch3, which at that time was totally unknown in humans. It was well known in the Drosophila, but not in humans. So I will stop here for the prehistory, and you will hear everything about the present history, and I hope about what next, about the future during these 2 days, not only about CADASIL, but also on other small artery disease of the brain, either genetics or not familial. But before I finish, 3 things. First of all, I want to dedicate this meeting to the patients and families. And patients and families are represented in this room, patients from France, patients from America. And I would like to ask Chantal, Jean-Luc, they are members. If you could stand up, and Billy, okay, if you could 3 of you stand up. Billy is in the middle, and she created the American Association of CADASIL Patients. And she's very, very active to promote the knowledge about CADASIL and also to support the research. And the two other on both sides are members of my first family. They are still extremely active in France to support cas d'asile patients, and actually Jean-Luc, I said the first name because everything is recorded and I thought it was better to tell your first name. Jean-Luc is the present president of the Cas d'Asile Patient French Association. Okay, so really thank you. Without your family, as you know, without your family, there would have been no Cas d'Asile story and we would not be here. I also want to thank 3 foundations that supported us for this meeting. Fondation Planiol, which is a French foundation who is helping research on brain and cerebrovascular disease. Fondation Le Duc, represented here by David Tancredi. He's a scientific director. And I suppose that most of you are members of the Le Duc network on small artery disease of the brain, at least many of the young people here. But for those who may not be involved, Fondation Le Duc is supporting financially transatlantic networks in the cardiovascular and cerebrovascular areas. And they have really boosted the research in the cerebrovascular field. And if you allow me, David, to tell the number that you said yesterday evening to me. And this year, we are as vascular neurologists, to hear that there are among 118, is that right, applications for these transatlantic networks, 21 on cerebrovascular field, which is quite a lot, the double of that, in previous years. So really, thank you to the Fondation Le Duc. And of course, I want to thank Fondation Singer-Polignac and his administrative director, who is hiding there, Monsieur Olivier Le Gall, and his assistant, is she here? Céline, Céline, she's not here. Céline Kindelberger, you have exchanged mails with her, and she's really the one who organized this meeting. I also want to thank everybody in the foundation. I cannot again say all the names. And with this, Elisabeth, if you want to come, so as you see, the speaker is here and the moderator are on each side, because everything is recorded. Another practical point, it's not allowed to take pictures in this building. A second point, there is a small change in the program that you might have seen in the sheet, because Cheng Ayata was unfortunately unable to come, but Katharina Eckermann-Herter, is she here, Katharina? Well, anyway, she has accepted to replace him, but she had a flight back to Boston tonight, so we had to make a switch. And she will give a talk on cas d'asile and migraine today. And Elisabeth and Dominique Hervé will give their talk about other genetic varieties of small artery disease of the brain tomorrow.